from Bungoma, Gongwa, MONBASA, MVITA. We are the enemy. Brackets, game of spies. 007 or total rest. In Christianity, 0 means nothing and 7 stands for rest. So when you are resting, you are doing nothing. So you do nothing. Nothing about something. But do they do nothing, these people? Let's look down at the famous actor from England. In Her Majesty's Service, James Bond, 007. Worldwide hit. I saw another one by Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson, which was also very interesting, exciting. Johnny English. Very interesting movies to watch. Very, very interesting. True English spirit. Espionage with ease and fun. Very exciting. But how did these strange characters begin? In the insect species, the wasp is an insect that feeds on flesh and other insects. In Japan, the giant hornet feeds on honeybees. It first sends spies. A hornet that will see a beehive goes to investigate. And if there's a sizable number of bees, it flies back to the hornet's nest to report. Then the other hornets will follow it to the beehive to kill the bees and take their bodies home. Sometimes they can kill almost a whole beehive, killing and carrying them. So the bees in that region, when they notice that a hornet spy has entered, they all crowd around it, and then start vibrating their wings. The temperature rises so much that the hornet dies because of heat and suffocation. In the past, the Romans are the ones who introduced this spy game that we go on with. They had people who would go to places, pose as civilians, and they didn't do the arresting, or in places of games, when there are things that were sensitive to politics, sensitive to the area around, and these people would relay secret information. Then the other people who are responsible would come and pick up the culprits. That's what we still do today in the police force and all that. But prior to that, in some communities, there were people who would go out, or there are others who have got, I don't know if it is a spirit or what, they run around in the night. And some of the chiefs in those areas, those times, would rely on information because these people would be moving around, running around, and sometimes listening. So if people are talking, they are able to grasp. And that's why in the African custom and in other places, it used to be said, do not whisper some things. A bird may hear it. It was not a bird. It was, if it's in the night, a witch, a wizard, a night runner may hear it and pass the information to the relevant authorities. It also went on in that some people used the confession, church confession, because you go and you confess everything. Some priests will be used to leak some information if there's a criminal in the society. And then they don't participate in your arresting. But with that lead information, you will be caught committing your crime where you always commit your crime. So it happens that you are arrested, but information had been passed on prior to that. That has been going on, but in our lives, this has also reached a stage where it's touching on each one of us. I said, we are the enemy. We spy on ourselves, we spy on others. It's reached a time that some people in higher positions use others to find information and then relay it secretly. Sometimes it works to the detriment of the very people. It may be something good that will serve you, help you, but that information is relayed in advance. If it is something, it is copied, and before you can produce yours in the market, already somebody is producing the same thing. Or before you can engage a certain plan into action, it has been overtaken because somebody leaked that information. There are many things that spy on us nowadays. There are video cameras, secret. We have hacking phones. People are able to hack, get information, fish information. They can even be able to tamper with the information that you have, change and sometimes even use your address in using certain things. There's bugging that is done in cars, in houses, in places of meetings. And of late, there was a time when a country was complaining about other countries, sending phones, and then you find the phone is relaying all the information, all the secrets, all the details from other countries to very sensitive matters. You find they have gone to another country because as you are using the phone is relaying the information to the mother factory. So such a things are on the rise. There are times when we have put ourselves in great danger because there are some of us who every information, I've woken up, they write it on the internet. Now I'm brushing my teeth. I've just finished brushing my teeth, I'm rinsing. And then from there now I'm washing my face. I've just put on my new suit. And they're able to give information. And those people who are able to follow them up sometimes get vital information, either to blackmail them or to steal from them their accounts or from their place, because somebody may be traveling for 2 weeks and you're now saying, yes, I'm going to a certain holiday place starting tomorrow. Now I'm carrying my bag. Everybody sees you carrying the bag. I am in the car or in the plane. Everybody sees you. Now I've landed there. So if there is anybody to commit a crime, he knows there is all the time to do whatever he wants. You are not there. Then when you come back, you're busy complaining something has been done. There are also times when people come to places, visit countries or whatever, and they are asking for sensitive information. If it's a country, find somebody who is new, talking about your military installation, your police, things like that. Then it's always a high time if you can be able to leak the information to the relevant authorities, because sometimes it happens like that. It ends up into an attack. People who have been hit with terrorist attacks, even in the American great things that were happening, people would go, they would research, they would do things, and some people would have slight information, but they would ignore. Eventually, things would happen. There are artifacts from the countries which have been given out, and you find those artifacts have been used to improve on certain things in those other countries. An item appears to have been from your country, but now it is in another country. We've had issues of things being patented as things from other countries, while the originality of those things is other countries. Some countries even have a hard time struggling over an item. An animal maybe that was taken someplace cannot be returned because those who have it claim it's theirs. And those from where it came, claim it's theirs. So there are such a things that are happening in our lives, but we should be on the lookout. Also, the government should be on the lookout. If you get to know that certain items, certain electronic equipment can be used by criminals to spy, then you limit them. If you know some phones or some equipment can be able to relay important information back to the place where it was manufactured, then you should also look into those aspects. Because some countries have fallen prey to certain things because of that. Some people have fallen prey because certain equipment that is very sensitive is freely given or left to be in the hands of people who may not be legally accountable for doing that job, but they can be able to use it. So in this world, whatever thing that has been happening around us, we should always remember it starts on earth. We are the enemy. If we are not careful, if we are not sensitive, if we are not observant, it ends up on us. We allow situations that you know it will not happen on me, but it is used on your neighbor or another person. So let's all be alert. Let the governments be alert. Let everybody be alert, because our safety begins with us. And the enemy are us, because we hide the information, we flout whatever we have, and when we are hit again, we start complaining. So let's be careful, because in this spy game, we are the enemies. That's my take for now.